The genre I picked was horror. We're going to analyze conventions of the TV show Stranger Things because the genre is horror. I've added in example videos to hopefully give a better understanding. Next, we will be looking at historical and current examples of horror shows. Then to conclude the presentation, we will end with the 4 stages of development. First up, we have the setting. The settings are spooky places and usually places we are afraid of, like dark areas, the woods, and etc. The TV show Stranger Things was mostly filmed outside in the dark in dark buildings. Next up, we have the characters. Typical to all horror films, there is an evil villain looking to destroy the main characters and kill them. Also common is the afterlife playing roles in evil, though the main characters are just a lead up to the villain's world. To compare that to Stranger Things, there is an evil creature that kills Will and he eventually comes back to life with the help of Eleven, a girl who has special powers but is also being searched for because she is looked at as evil. To the right, we have the evil creature that is in Stranger Things, and we are going to look at a video of the evil creature looking to destroy one of the main characters. That pretty much sums it up. This next slide is just an extra slide I added in for you to be able to see some of the main characters. Pictured is Mike, Lucas, Will, Dustin, and Eleven. Eleven is the girl that has special powers to help Will, who is also pictured. Next up, we have conflict. Conflict in horror shows often promotes destruction of the evil lives so lives could go back to how they were before the evil existed. In Stranger Things, they are needing to kill the evil creature so it will stop killing people. To add to this idea, I've added in a video of Eleven and the rest of the crew resolving the conflict. Last up is common elements. It is typical for there to be blood, special effects, horror makeup, and costumes in horror genres. And in Stranger Things, there were scenes that require horror makeup and they needed special effects to create the monster and hallucinations Will has when the creature takes over his body, and blood for when characters die. Now that we're done analyzing the conventions of the horror genre, we're going to look at historical and current horror genre TV shows. First, the historical examples. Kolchak, the Night Stalker, does his search at night, hence the name. It is his role to solve murders that are too perplexed for officers. There is a lot of suspense and horror settings that make this movie genre horror. And then we have Dark Shadows, and its setting is very dark, indicating the genre is horror, along with the theme of vampires. Vampires are looked at as supernatural and scary. What I noticed about the historical examples had more sound effects indicating suspense, though an occurring theme in all of these movies is death. With The Ghost Hunters and Walking Dead, they are both filmed at night for a dark theme, and both movies revolve around Walking Dead people, except one is in ghost form. To wrap things up, we have the 4 stages of development. Under parodic, we have the TV show Being Human, because the TV show is perceived to be a comedy, but there are more suspense and horror indications than comedy. Under revisionist, we have the X-Files, because it is not necessarily big on emotion, straight to the point, and murder solving. Quoted in the presentation that was handed to us last week, it quotes, the pre-established conventions are exploited as ironic toils to question or undetermine the popular beliefs. And I find this show to do exactly that, because there is a creature that wants to demolish people, and there are pre-established clues leading up to it. Under classical, we have the TV show Full House, because the show shows balance, richness, and poise. The single dad raises his kids to the best of his ability and raises them to have all of these qualities. Lastly, under primitive, we have the show Friends, because a lot of the characters are perceived to be naive, but the overall show has a big emotional impact. To conclude, we discussed all the points, including the conversations of the genre, and I hope the video examples provided more input. Next, historical and current horror TV shows were discussed to give better understanding of the horror genre. Lastly, we went over the 4 stages of genre development and why the TV shows were placed under each description. Thank you for watching.